So I'm going to start over then. That is so sad. Well, great. We'll do it all over. So now I'm all discombobulated. Okay. Confirmed that everyone is hearing things. Great. So now I gotta back all the way up and start over from scratch. It's good. I'm actually going to take a few moments and I'll invite you to join me to just like land and ground. So I'm going to get really comfortable. This is a practice that I do several times a day at least. So I'm going to get comfortable. I'm going to feel the ground beneath me. Feel my spine rising from the ground. A couple deep breaths. Noticing anything that I'm hearing, tasting, smelling. Great. So, what I want to talk about today is how important it is to keep some, if not most, of your attention on yourself when you're with a partner. So this is definitely true when it comes to sex, all kinds of sex, sexual, sensual play. That's primarily what I'm focusing on because that's my body of work with people. But it's also really helpful when you're just in conversation with someone, or if you work with people one-on-one, or if you work with groups of people, when you're in that position as well, just working on how much am I paying attention to myself? How much of my attention is over there? And so a couple of reasons why this is important, specific to when you're with a partner. So the main thing is that sex is really intended to be a shared experience, right? Between two people, maybe sometimes more, and also with yourself, of course, but it's easier to keep our attention on ourselves when you're with yourself. So it's meant to be, when you're with a partner, it's a shared experience. And so if you're putting all of your attention on your partner, like 100% of your attention, which sometimes some of us do, we think that in order to be a good lover, a good partner, to really tune in and attend to whomever we're with, we think that we have to we think that the way to do that is to put all of our attention over there. And that's actually not true and usually not helpful. And a couple ways that that's not helpful. If all of your attention's over there and you're in this shared experience with a partner, you're missing out on half of the information that's in the room, half of the creativity, half of the possibilities, and you're also not in touch with your own body, so it might be feeling good to give your partner pleasure, but you're not experiencing it in your own body. So that's one reason why it's not great. Another reason is that it can lead to sexual challenges. So the whole gamut. If it can be difficult to become aroused if all of your attention is over there. It can be difficult to reach climax or orgasm. It can be, those are maybe the main things. So it can be difficult to actually notice what's happening in your body and stay connected to that and feel your own pleasure. It can also be really uncomfortable for your partner if all of your attention is over there. Your partner might feel invaded by your space. They might feel like there's a lot of pressure and expectation on their experience since it's the only focus in the room. And there's a way that sometimes If all of our attention is over there and we're not contacting ourselves, we can be really untrustable because we aren't aware of what's happening for us. And so our bodies might be having an experience. We might be, it can lead to an incongruence between what's happening, what we're doing, and then what's happening for us over here. I don't know if that makes perfect sense, but it can make us really untrustable because we're not actually listening to what's happening in our own experience. Great. So there's some easy ways to work with this and to play with this. There's one more thing that I actually want to say, which is that when you are coming from your own pleasure, so if you're with a partner, say I'm with a partner and I'm touching him, he's the focus of attention, so I'm touching him, he's not touching me, so it's sort of a one-way experience, and I'm touching from what feels good for me. So the intention is to bring him pleasure, but I'm tuning into like what actually feels good for me in this moment. That 9 times out of 10 is going to feel way better for someone, for your partner, than if you're just trying to figure out what feels good to them. So coming from your own pleasure is actually going to be more pleasurable for your partner. And so what I want to invite you to do now is to play with how much of your attention is on you and how much of your attention is on something else. I need a sip of water first. There's so many people watching. This is so funny. It's like people from so many different parts of my life, from like an elementary school teacher of mine, so from like almost 30 years ago, and former gymnasts that I used to coach. It's just sort of a wild experience. Okay, so playing with where your attention is. There's a really easy way that you can play with this, and you can do it right now as I'm talking, and you can also do it when you're with a partner and you're engaging sexually or sensually with them, and you can also just do it when you're sitting talking with someone. And if you do it with a partner in a sexual setting, I would really recommend making it known to them what you're doing, because you might be able to get information from them that will enhance your learning. So you might just say like, hey, I want to try and play with how much of my attention is on you and how much of it's on me. And let me know what you notice as I'm doing that. So I want you to start, as we're sitting here, with putting all of your attention on me as I'm talking, and see if you can really like get it to be 100%, which might seem sort of weird. Maybe it's normal for you, I don't know. And I'm just going to keep talking, and I'm going to, tell you about the view that I can see out my window, and there's some squirrels running around, and my dog really likes the squirrels, and she's watching them like totally fiercely. So notice what that's like. How does it feel when all of your attention is over there? And then pause now and bring all of your attention over to yourself. So you might have to close your eyes to do that. I'm going to do it as well. Feeling the ground beneath you. And then from here, start to bring it out just a little bit at a time. So you might bring your attention out 10%. So you're mostly noticing what's happening in your own body, but some of it's on me as I'm talking here. And notice what that feels like and how that feels in your own body. Can you keep track of what I'm saying? Or is that too hard? Maybe then come out 25%. And notice what that's like. And you can play with this where you're maybe at 50-50, or you have 75% of your attention on me, 25% on yourself, or vice versa. I actually find the number that works best for me in most situations is I have 80% of my attention on myself and 20% on whomever I'm with in whatever sort of context. So that means when I'm sitting with clients, most of my attention's on myself. When I'm with my partner, even if I'm focusing my attention on him and we're diving into his experience or we're exploring something sexually, sensually together that's focused on him, most of my attention is on myself because I have to use my own body and my own sensations and the impulses and desires within my body to guide what I'm doing, no matter what it is. So play with that and see what you learn and what you discover. It can be really eye-opening and really sort of surprising how little attention we actually have to put on our partner in order to have them feel like they have our attention. Okay. Trying to see if there's anything else I want to say. Do you guys have any questions? If you have questions, you can type them in, and I'm so happy to answer them. I have a couple of couples workshops happening in Boulder. So if you're local to Boulder or Denver area, or if you're going to be here, they're the first 3 Saturdays of December. And I'll type the website in, but we're gonna go into stuff like this, which it's like really simple. It's not like complex, sort of earth-shattering ideas of how you can enhance your sex life. It's simple stuff like this that really, really, really can make a huge difference. So I'll put the link to that in the comments below. And I have some women's groups happening locally and virtually as well. And those women's groups are really a combination of discussions about different things to do with sexuality and our experiences of ourselves as sexual beings in the world. So they're both a discussion. We share things and ideas and come to cognitive understandings of things. And then also we bring in experiential practices and ways of knowing ourselves and knowing these experiences from the inside out. So tying all of that together. All right. Well, if you have questions, type them in whenever and I'll respond. And I hope you all have a great day. So sad. Well, great.